baby. It's time to ride the funk train, and we are indoctrinated with all sorts of processed foods. I just realized making this video that we don't carry fruits and vegetables in this house, and shame on us. Now, if you know who I am, my name is Funkmaster V, and I've been running the largest Atari 7800 website since around the early 2000s. Some of you may not even know what a website is, but it's Atari7800forever.com. I've gotten away from doing articles because I'm now focused on reviews, and there's so much news with Atari that it takes my free time to focus on that. But I like today's video because it's like the old articles I used to put on the site. I don't know, it's just really cool to figure out a mystery that I had when it came to an Atari classic called Food Fight, which was developed by them smooth suckers, GCC. We interviewed, me and John from the Atari Network and a guy from France. I don't know his handle. It's a bunch of letters in a row. He's a real cool guy, though. We interviewed Steve Golson earlier this month, and he told us, how in the hell did an Atari 7800 game handle instant replay? How did that work? How does it work? I don't know. I kind of think there's always like little elves and people pulling the strings in these cartridges. How is something with so little RAM, how does instant replay work in Food Fight? And if you didn't know, Food Fight had the ability to show an instant replay of a level that you completed. It had to be sexy, had to be dangerous, had to be kind of the right amount of time. But Steve, after this intro, is going to break it down. He definitely confirmed some suspicions that I had about what made instant replay, but he brought up a bunch of stuff I had no clue about. I think you'll find this interesting if you enjoy Food Fight and early programming, what these cats had to do to break this jive down. Hope you enjoy today's video. Make sure you check out all of the Big and Funky Productions YouTube page videos. Like and subscribe, and after this intro, we'll get into the teeth of the instant replay on Food Fight.
Since the beginning of time, there's only been one website with the Babylons to claim every game reviewed when it came to the Pro System, and that's Atari7800forever.com.
But now it's time to get on that YouTube trip, babies. And who am I? I'm Funkmaster V, musician, ghost hunter, hat flipper, pro wrestler, comedian, actor, filmmaker, and I'm going to take you on a whirlwind tour of all things cool about Atari and the Atari 7800 with a podcast, news, even new crap. Baby, are you ready to get your groove on? Because it's about to get funky up in here.
So Food Fight, Jonathan Hurd, who developed Food Fight, and he tells a story of how he developed that game, and he very deliberately said, there's all these shooting games. You know, what can you do?
Right.
That's not a shooting game. What else, you know, if you hit the button, what happens when you hit the button? And it was throw. Okay, you know, what other actions can you do? Oh, okay, you hit the button and it throws. Okay, you know, what could you throw? You could throw food. Oh, food. Oh, and just like, okay, there. And he was off to the races. He's like, Food Fight. Oh my gosh, someone else is going to come up with this idea. I have to get my game out the door before anybody else does. And off he went. And that was the idea behind Food Fight. Was, you know, it's not a shooting game, right? It's something else.
Actually,
so, yeah.
Instant replay, how hard was that to do on the 7800?
Oh, that's an interesting. I can't remember if it was the 7800 bug or a arcade bug. Jonathan told me. I think it was a 7800 bug that the instant replay, sometimes you would lose. Because the whole point of instant replay is that it exactly matches what you just did, right? And because during instant replay, it's playing music. Well, that disrupted the timing just a tiny bit, so that the playing back the inputs was just different enough where the outcome of the instant replay might be different than the actual play was. And I think the fix was, I may misspeak it, Jonathan will have to jump in here, but I think the fix was to always be playing music, even during the regular gameplay, except that the volume is all the way off. Okay. So the timing behind the scenes is exactly the same as during the instant replay.
Wow.
And part of the trick with instant replay was you didn't know how long the instant replay would be. So the music had to adjust itself dynamically to end the musical phrase right at the end, right?
So it's just showing the inputs the player, the user has put in the thing. It's just replaying.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because
because
the gameplay is exactly the same, right? The game will respond exactly the same. And so all that he does is he remembers at every time step what's the input from the player. And so if you have that, then you can replay exactly what happened on the screen. And he has this complicated algorithm. How do you decide when instant replay gets triggered?
Right.
And it has to be, it's only every fifth screen. So it can't happen all the time. So it has to be at least 5 screens since the last one. And you really have to have a near miss. Right. It can't just, at first he said it randomly picked and did an instant replay. So, well, that's not interesting. It has to be a reason. So it had to be like, you were just a few pixels away from dying.
Oh, wow.
All right. And then it would say, let's do that instant replay. So that's where that came from.
That sounds like a video I'm going to be releasing this week.
Yeah. So that was Jonathan.
The secret behind instant replay. Well, it was more like 2 weeks, but hey, I knew what I was doing.